Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My God. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Through Ali. Amen. Will you stand up? Islam. First I give praise to Allah. The great God of the universe. I give honor to his holy divine prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Founder of the Moorish Scientific America. I give honor to the forerunner to the prophet. Brother Marcus Garvey. I give honor to all true and divine prophets. Jesus. Muhammad. Buddha. Confucius. Etc. I give honor to the past, supreme, grand advisor, and moderators of the Moorish Scientific America. Brother C. Kirkman Bay. Brother F. Nelson Bay. And Brother J. Blakely Bay. I give honor to the former past grand Sheikh moderator of the Moorish Scientific America. Brother Allah here. I give honor to the present grand Sheikh, who is the moderator of the Moorish Scientific America. I give honor to the assistant grand Sheikh of the Moorish Scientific America. Brother A. Hopkins. I give honor to the Grand National Chairman of the Moorish Scientific America. Brother P. Chase Hill. I give honor to all national, state, and local officials of the Moorish Scientific America. I give honor to the Grand Governor of Washington, D.C. Brother H. Harris Bay. And to his assistant. Sister D. Jones Bay. I give honor to all Sheikhs and members of the Moorish Scientific America. I give honor to all auxiliaries of the Moorish Scientific America. I give honor to the American flag, the Moorish flag, and to our charter. I give honor to everything that the Prophet brought, for the uplifting of fallen man. I give honor to man. Peace. Salvation of God unity. The Moorish Scientific America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Scientific America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Scientific America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to law, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the members of the Moorish Scientific America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to Chapter 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man born in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh. The simplest Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Scientific America. No member to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister or indicating at all they may harm his brother or sister because Allah loves them. Act 4. All members must observe these holy divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because of being in Moorish America, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Scientific America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the state government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of the state government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now, carrying a free national name, to be recognized by the government what they live, and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabit the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. That's 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part, any posture of all of this thing after the Moorish time to America. Members must pay their dues to keep an eye on all the necessities of the Moorish time to America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother, being justice, and become a part of the others can follow humanity. All Moorish Americans keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of the Father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father in the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah, my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his Holy Prophet Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Scientific America, P.O. Box 3887600, Orlando, Origin Drive, Greenville, Maryland, 20768. That's what I read from the Line Constitution. Now I'd like to read from the questionnaire and additional for the Moorish American about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand Sheikhs and governors the head of all temples, all businesses. He said temples be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be financed property or any line like it will cause members to sacrifice, finance, etc. that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer to violate these laws is subject to be removed from its office under heavy restriction and set by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend at our meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second he'll be fined $1, which will be your emergency fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for much as he is able to the Moorish Enlistment Fund, because it takes finance. 2 other explanations. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me and save the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of others his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. As I had the power invested in my hands, I will have to force the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak rowdy against the church or any member of any organized group, because we have to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who are able to do so, because offering the Sunday school from the guidance of the nation. Act 6. But first, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government with the live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people in this simple way. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabit the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part, any partial of all uplifting after the Moorish Time Temple. Members must pay their dues to keep an eye on all the necessities of the Moorish Time Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children. Look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplift and the fall of humanity. All Morrison Americans keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from the Holy Prophet, known as Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Thus we are reading from the question and additional of all 7 minutes. Now I'd like to read a portion from the Holy Koran of the Most High about my prayer by the Holy Prophet. I'd like to read from chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and breath of one mother giving you suck. That the bonds of affection therefore unite you with thy brother, that peace and happiness will dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love. Peace.
Peace.
It's not more.
It's not more.
I'd like to welcome all to our Sunday school. This is our first Sunday school after our convention. Praise the Lord, we had a good convention. Praise the Lord. It's good to be back home. I have to take care of the business of the more time to our American in Chicago. I pray that everybody has a safe journey back. And those who were here that we thought about, and those who were there we thought about. So we were thinking about each other. So you don't see it there. We had anybody out there need to come up?
He's coming.
So I pray a lot of everybody's okay. So we're going to have Sunday school instructor today. We're going to have our Grand Governor of Washington, D.C. instruct our Sunday school. But before we do that, we're going to have a moment of silent meditation for our Grand Governor to instruct Sunday school. It's on.
It's on.
So I first I'd like to call for Grand Governor of Washington, D.C. I'm going to call Brother H. Hurricane.
Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, through Ali. Amen.
First, I want to give praise to Allah, honor the prophet and family that's holding the divine movement. I want to give honor to everything Prophet Noble Ali had brought for the uplift and the fall of humanity. I give honor to each and every one of you who came out tonight, today, obeying the laws of the prophet. In the laws it says, out from the Sunday school come the guidance of the nation. And may Allah bless you for adhering to the prophet's law. When you adhere to the prophet's law, you adhere to whose law?
Allah's love.
So you can't go wrong if you adhere to the prophet's law, right?
Praise God.
Out from your Sunday school come the guidance of the nation. Tell me something about that. How from your Sunday school come the guidance of the nation? How do you become a guide of the nation from coming to Sunday school? You ever thought about it? It's open. It's open, brother. Permanent Bay.
You being obedient to the laws of the prophet when when you come to your Sunday school meeting, and you get a chance to exercise your 5 senses.
Okay. Praise God. Anyone else? How from your Sunday school come to Brother Baby Black?
It's when you come to Sunday school, we learn and we study. And we apply what we learn and study. And we can guide the nation by learning and studying and living the life.
Praise God. How from your Sunday school? I know you thought about it. You come to Sunday school, there's a reward for coming to Sunday school. Brother Thompson Bay. Thompson, excuse me.
Praise God, Father. Well, I think from my understanding, when the prophet came, he said, take your lessons and save yourself. He held up the Constitution bylaw, the 101s, and the Koran from the guide of the nation. For your study, the big families.
Okay. All right, brother Faulkner Bay.
Islam, praise Allah, Prophet. There are no accidents. Before this meeting started, there was a brief conversation. And one of the wise brothers who was speaking made a point that it's here where we get our foundation.
Come on.
It's here where we begin to develop the understanding of the lessons, where we learn how to apply them and live them out. And as we live them out in our thoughts, words, and deeds, we are recognized by the world, according to the Koran, to be honored. And in that honor, people are then willing to follow the example of a good practitioner. Not somebody who's pointing the way, but somebody who actually is living the life of a Muslim according to our laws. And when that's seen, he's worthy to become a guide of those who will follow that example, knowing that they can trust in that it came from Allah through our holy and divine prophet. And there's confidence in that. And when you have confidence in a leader, your confidence is based on the idea that he's doing what the law says, what Allah says, what the prophet says, and you can trust that and follow that. He leaves footprints clearly cut like the prophet did to know that we go in the right way, so long as you stand on the path of the right way.
Praise God. Brother Crawford here.
Praise
Praise
God.
God.
A guide is in conjunction with a leader. The prophet said to be a good Moorish leader, study your Koran, study your divine constitution, divine law, and the holy Bible, the more scientific of life.
Praise God. Out from your Sunday school. Go ahead, brother, sit down.
It's not more. I was thinking that the prophet say, if you think your condition can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America. When we join the Moorish Science Temple of America, we are a follower of the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And in learning the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, like Brother Faulkner Bay spoke about earlier, we come to Sunday school, and this is where we get our foundation. You know, I was thinking as you were speaking, and the chairman opened the meeting by reading the Moorish honors and units. We give praise to Allah and honor to the prophet and so on and so forth. And then he read the law, the divine constitution, bylaws, and so on and so forth. That's the foundation. The prophet also said, imitate our prophet. You know, so when we come in and accept the teachings of the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and we make it a part of head and heart, And like Brother Faulkner, they say we live these teachings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we learn to imitate the prophet of the Drali, you become a guide, not even conscious of it. Just living the life of a Muslim, living a life of right, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You know, living right, doing right, you know, wishing well to others, learning to love instead of hate. You know, you when I first heard imitate the prophet, you know, I wonder, how did you do that? Because I wasn't around during the time of the prophet. But I learned through the teachings of the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And you try to live the life of the teachings, you imitate the prophet. Peace.
Praise God. Praise God. And one thing, reason why I say this, but what I'm learning, everything about the prophet's instructions is for us. We got to take ownership to it. We got to be willing to ask ourselves the questions that we need to ask. How do you become a guide in the nation? What do it mean by coming to your Sunday school? It's a reward for coming to your Sunday school. But also, how do I go about becoming a guide of the nation? Well, first you must come to your Sunday school. Like Brother Faulkner Bay said, we're building the foundation. See, we're being introduced to the prophet. Now, in being introduced to the prophet, as you said, Brother Shingle, now we must strive to imitate him by applying it into our everyday life. So you can't be a guide of the nation if you're going to be here on Sunday, and then you're going to go back outside on Monday and act like you ain't learned that.
That's right.
See, you understanding is the rock on which man builds himself on. We're starting to strive to fortify ourselves with the understanding of the prophet so that we can make it a part of us, as you say, make it a part of us to be able to imitate him in our actions, words, and our deeds. But the start is the Sunday school, because this is where we're going to share information to get to know the prophet. See, we still got to learn to get to know the prophet, and we got to learn to trust the prophet. He said, "That word I speak is spirit." So in the process of speaking these words and going back and speaking these words, we are raising our spirit up to be who we really are.
Yes. That's it.
We are thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. We're trying to connect to what? Our higher way of thinking, our higher self. So it's a very important, but it's a lot that we must do. We must do. We can't just be here, pick up Sunday school, come and go through Sunday school, and then leave this in Sunday school when we go back out in the world. We must be consistent in trying to hold on. And then we come back again after another cycle to be able to do the same thing. So that, as it was said, so that we can start building our foundation so it can be a part of our personality. They talked about Jesus and the personality of Jesus, the character, to what we represent. We continue to nourish our spirits with these divine instructions so that we can be able to imitate him in our actions, words, and deeds, not in our mouth. See, it's not about talking. Now, we're going to have opportunity to share. But you can't share what you don't have, what you're not being a part of yourself. You're not living it yourself. Because now your heart and mind, your tongue and heart is at variance. You're saying one thing, but you're doing another thing. So that's why it's important for us to attend our Sunday school so that we can learn to be guides of the nation. And one of the things I'm learning is to be guides of the nation is not by speaking it, talking it, walking it. I often say I'd rather see a Moorish American walking than talking. Be consistent in walking it than talking it. Because we can all make our words in the semblance of truth. But the business of our life can also be deceiving.
Right.
So we're really trying to rebuild us. We're trying to strive to be who we really are. We're trying to overcome that carnal way of thinking and put something in place of that carnal way and be who we really are. A thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. Because our purpose here is to show the strength of Allah manifested in the flesh. That's our purpose. But we gotta, and I learned we gotta take ownership to these things. No one can take it for you. I have to take ownership myself. And everyone in here has to say, I'm gonna try to be a guide of the nation. How do I do that? Your card is for your salvation. And every tongue must confess his own. So how do I be a guide of the nation? What do I have to do, Allah, to be a guide of the nation? And why do I want to be a guide of the nation? Why? Do I want to be a guide of the nation so that I can get the fame and reputation? Or do I want to be a guide of the nation because I want to see, I want to help my people in the manner in which the prophet has helped me? See, well, we got to look at what our intent is too. Because see, what can do good can also do harm. Go ahead, brother. Brother Brandon Bay, then brother Dixon Hill, brother. I was gonna call you somebody else. That's why I hesitated. Brandon Bay, Dixon Hill. Dixon.
Praise the Lord, the prophet, for having me here today. Honor you brothers who maintain your position here in the Moore Science Temple of America, who've been given the name Faithful. Okay, as a one who proclaimed his nationality, thinking himself with believing that this may be the truth for me, this await the Moore Science Temple of America. I've been in and out of these prisons, these streets, and all that. Been following the prophet though. Uncertainty, unknown about it. You know, I've been in and out of these doors right here in 71. And you say to me, how I can be a guide of the nation? I can't be a guide of the nation if I don't even know myself. I can't even follow the prophet if I don't know thyself. Because he came to redeem me of my sinful way. Once I understand that, then I'm well on my way into the belief that I may have faith in this movement. Because if I don't get faith in this movement, I'll lose all doubt about where I'm going with this movement.
Yes.
Because there are other ways to get to Allah.
Yes.
I can go straight from my heart and receive the revelation from Allah. I don't need no man to intercede with Brandon Bay, Brandon Bay. How to be a noble one, how to be a lord, how to be a man, how to be a beast, how to be a devil. I don't need nobody to tell Brandon Bay. Because Brandon Bay carried him. The devil, Satan, Lucifer, all of them with him. He's for real than me. That's why I've been following the prophet. Because he told me, he warned me about these things that was a myth to me. From out of the scriptures and all. These 18 missing years showed me much more about Jesus. Yes, I love Jesus. My mama loved Jesus. My mama even loved America. But I love Prophet Noble Jew Ali. That's my Lord. I give peace and blessings to Prophet Muhammad. Because when he shined the light, he gave me warnings about this here nation. Let me know I'm amongst a family of nations. Because I serve a merciful God. The Rasulullah, the Rahim, the Rahman. I serve him. Him alone I serve.
Praise God. Thank you, brother.
I'm just letting you know where I'm at today, Ernest Bay.
Okay, good.
Okay? Because when you start saying these things, you know, like ripping these lines off of the Koran, it makes me go another way.
Okay, man.
You know, make me go around my elbow. Okay?
Praise God.
I just want us like babies in here. Don't know nothing about the prophet. Keep the doors open. Keep them clean and pure.
All right, thank you. May Allah bless you. Praise
Peace.
God.
Peace.
All right. Out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation.
Yeah, Dixon Hill next.
Oh, Dixon Hill. I'm sorry, Dixon Hill. Go ahead, brother.
Islam. I'm reading from the Branch Temple Information.
Go ahead, my brother.
A few sentences.
it says during the time that Prophet Noble Ali was in the flesh, he will be the last speaker of the evening. It is important to note Prophet Noble Ali instructs that we put our best speakers out front. It is important that those who speak to a body of Moors attend Sunday school on a regular basis and teach according to the divine instructions of the Holy Prophet Noble Ali.
That's where
And what I'm learning in the temple, like the brothers were saying, some of the things the brothers saying when they say imitate the prophet. See, this is where we learn to imitate the prophet, by learning his divine instructions. And once we start to learn his divine instructions and start to learn to imitate the prophet, that's why the prophet's report said don't put no foreign arms on your rostrum. Because, don't mean that, you a Chinese or nothing like that. It means that your teachings might be foreign. They might not be according to the Holy Prophet. And when you get up on that rostrum, it's very important that you are teaching and speaking the words of the prophet, because you become the guide of a nation. You don't never want to mislead your nation in the wrong way by saying certain things that can spark a certain light. That's why I tell you, in Act 4, all means while making public speech might not use any assertion against the American flag to speak around against the church or any member of any organized group. Because we ought to teach what? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that must be pounded in daily, all the time. So when you do get on the rostrum, no harmful motive, word, or anything will come out of your mouth, because you're leading a nation of people. What you putting out can be a blessing or a curse. Because if you put out the wrong thing or stir the wrong ether, then that individual take it and say, oh, this is what the prophet meant. So it's very important that we stick to that, because he said, it's reported, he said, my sheep know the sound of my voice, and a stranger won't follow.
That's what he said.
So whoever's up there on the podium, they must be imitating prophet, because we're not really actually following that individual. He's following the spirit that he's speaking.
That's right. It's not.
And we are following that individual because he's what? Imitating the prophet. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, when we start to learn how to do that and look at it from this mundane, carnal point of view, and understand that when, the prophet say, keep the doors open, he didn't say whoever's standing up on the podium. Because that spirit of the prophet got to be in the temple at all times. And this is how we learn that spirit and understand, learn how to actuate and direct that spirit. That's right. So we can keep the doors open in the Asiatics to be, living according to love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, peace.
Because and the question is, then the prophet is what?
He's still present at all times.
He's a thought.
He's a thought.
They cannot be circumscribed.
He's a thought.
Still can't be circumscribed.
You're right, he can't be so, but he's a thought of Allah.
Yeah.
What we're trying to embrace is the thought.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of Allah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Didn't Jesus tell Barabbas, let's forget the flesh and go into mind, into land of flesh's things?
Yeah.
We're trying to embrace the thought.
Mm-hmm.
The thought is what's going to help us become better. The thought is what's going to help us become students, consistent students of the Prophet Noble Ali, great prophet of Ali here in North America. It's the thought, it's the words, it's the thought. He said, every word I speak is spirit. It's the thought. Go ahead, brother.
Islam, praise Allah. Whatever is very like Islam, all praise due to Allah. Because he called for words by the words of his mouth. You can create a condition just with one word.
Yes,
And
you can.
cause a group of people to be angry and upset and hostile. And then you could say another word and throw out a different spirit and bring them back to peace. If you are imitating the prophet.
That's right.
Personality can be attractive or obnoxious. And the personality of the Nazarene was based on the idea that he was a thought of Allah who went with mine and found in his mind nothing but those thoughts that allowed him to be a guide of those people he was teaching, because he knew the way. You can't guide if you don't know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have been given the revelation by Allah
Come on.
that the destination is not uncertain nor unknown, you yourself will create footprints that allow people to have the confidence to follow him, because then they will be imitating the thought of Allah. And it just occurs to me that nothing more personally becomes a greater challenge than to be consistent in my virtue. Not to make the words of semblance and the truth today in Sunday school, and then by the time I get home, I'm utilizing thoughts of anger, hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and I'm speaking words of hostility and violence, and I've become a whole nother person than the one I was presenting in Sunday school. And that's hypocrisy. And Allah says those hypocrites shall be in the lowest ranks of hell. That's a scary thought.
Yes,
And for me, it scares me enough to know I need to try my best, because I'm only scratching the surface. I don't know nothing. All I know is keep following the prophet. Keep learning what he's doing so you can imitate. What he's teaching us to think so you can imitate. Where he's teaching us to go that we can imitate. Because if I get off the path that he's led before me, I'm truly lost. I'm right back to being in the world of carnal things, you know what I'm saying, where Barada would have been comfortable trying to go until Jesus told him, let us forget the flesh. I want to forget the flesh enough that if a charming form comes by, I can lower my gaze. I want to forget the flesh enough that when an opportunity comes to tell the truth, tell the truth.
Yeah.
I want to forget the flesh enough that when circumstances arise that there might be some case of violence going on, I have to know that as a Muslim, my job is to heal the quarrels of angry men, not to involve myself in the act myself and be a part of that carnal action. As a Muslim, we are committed to the idea of living a life of love that other people can see and know to trust in that. There's salvation in that, because love is the only savior of the world.
Peace, praise God. Okay, we're going into the questionnaire. All right. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where is the nearest place we can meet?
In the heart.
Who is Noble Drew Ali?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
The prophet is the thought of Allah manifested in the flesh.
What is the duty of a prophet?
To save nations from the wrath of Allah.
Who is the founder of the Moorish Scientific America?
Noble Drew Ali.
What year was the Moorish Scientific America founded?
1913 AD.
Where?
Newark, New Jersey.
Where was Noble Drew Ali born?
In the state of North Carolina, 1886.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
Why are we Moorish Americans?
Because like the citizen of Allah was born in America.
For what purpose was the Moorish Scientific America founded?
We have lived in all humanity.
How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish American?
By teaching them to be themselves.
What is our religion?
Islamism.
Is that a new or is that an old time religion?
Old time religion.
What kind of a flag is the Moorish?
The red flag with 5 on the green stars.
What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
Which is our holy day?
Friday.
Why?
Because Friday is the day on which man was formed in flesh. It was on Friday when he departed out of flesh.
Who was Jesus?
He was the prophet of Allah.
Where was he born?
And Bethlehem was Judah in the house of David.
Who was his father and mother?
Joseph and Mary.
Will you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers of which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz, Baruch, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, Joseph,
Why did God send Jesus to this earth?
save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the Philistine nation of Europe, who was governing a portion of Palestine at that time,
How long has that been?
about 2,000 years ago.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was Moabites,
What is the modern name for Moabite?
Moroccans,
Where is the Moroccan Empire?
Northwest Mexico,
What is the modern name for Mexico?
Africa,
What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco?
Sultan,
Where did we get the name Jesus?
From the east,
What does the name Jesus mean?
means justice and justice.
Wait a minute, hold
I went on to him.
on. Wait a minute. See, everything about this organization is written. It's harmony. Everything about this is written. Being in one with Allah is harmony. We're trying to call on that high spirit that Allah has placed in the Holy Prophet to help us be able to do what? What? Harmony. Receive. It's a rhythm to this. And when it's out of rhythm, you can catch it. So we're going to do that again. What did the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
yes, it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin.
What is an angel?
Angels go up God manifested in human flesh,
What are angels used for?
to carry messages to the whole of the world, to all nations.
What is our prophet to us?
He is an angel of God, who is sent as the everlasting gospel of Allah.
What is the everlasting gospel?
He is the sacred power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet.
What is the covenant of the great God Allah?
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth, land which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee.
At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
At the age of 12,
Where did he teach?
India, Africa, and Europe,
How long did he teach?
18 years.
What did Jesus say that will make you free?
Truth.
What is truth?
Truth is all.
What is all?
All is law.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change or pass away.
What other name do we give to truth?
Holy breath.
What have you to say about holy breath?
All we can say is great, is good, it was, and is, and never will be. Amen.
At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden,
Where's the Garden of Eden?
in the land of Canaan, and the city of Mecca,
What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
America.
What is the name of the first physical man?
His name cannot be used on by exact rules of the AC of the NSCLA.
What are the words of the AC of the MSTLA?
That chamber with the more science of America, third.
Who were Adam and Eve?
They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims.
Where did they go?
They went to Asia.
What is the modern name given to their children?
Asiatics.
Who is God in the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away?
Angels.
What is the modern name for those angels?
Asiatics.
What is the shade of their skin?
Olive.
Are the Moorish Americans in relation to those angels?
Yes, we all have the same father and mother.
Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast.
What is the devil sometimes called?
The lower self.
How many cells are there?
2.
Name them.
High self and lower self.
What people represent the high self?
The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca.
What people represent the lower self?
Those who cast out of the holy city and those who accept his teaching.
What is the higher self?
The high self is the mother of virtues and harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
Can the higher self pass away?
No,
Why?
because it's all our man.
What does the lower self breed?
Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, death, and everything in harms.
What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him?
Where are you going, Satan?
What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self?
I'm going to and fro the earth, seeking unmade power.
What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self?
I'm going to and fro the earth, seeking unmade power.
Has he finished his task of devouring?
Yes,
When was the time declared out?
when you nailed Jesus on the cross,
What are the last words Jesus uttered?
it is finished.
What did he have reference to?
Again, mercy is his name.
What did he have reference to?
He had reference to the end of Satan.
Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him?
Yes.
What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated?
Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror.
Was Satan to be bound in?
Satan was bound in parts.
When was the head of Satan taken off? When was the head of Satan taken off?
1453
By whom?
by Muhammad.
Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nation in 1774.
Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian.
Negro.
And then give it to the river where it's shackled by Moors because it contains black waters.
What is it meant by the word black?
Black waters, science means death.
What does the word color mean?
Color means anything that makes the same varnish or dye.
What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopia means something divided.
Can a man be a Negro, black, color, or Ethiopian?
No,
Why?
because a man is made in the image and after the likeness of God.
What title does Satan give himself?
God.
Will you define the word white?
White means purity, purity means God, and God means ruler of the land.
To whom do we refer to at times as being the great God?
Allah.
Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah?
No, he is a shadow of our Lord's self. We are as away.
Come on. Is the devil made in the image and the likeness of Allah?
No, he is a shadow of our Lord's self and will pass away.
Who made the devil?
Elohim.
Who is Elohim?
Elohim is the self-created spirit that created everything that ever was, is, and ever wants to be.
What is Elohim sometimes called?
The 7 hours of Allah.
How many days are in the circle?
7 days.
How many days are in the creation?
7 days.
According to science, how many days are in a year?
7 days.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. You had your hand up?
No, sir.
Oh, praise the Lord. Good job.
Tom broke out.
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Good job.
I was thinking, when you spoke earlier, when you spoke earlier about being a guide of the nation.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
We were talking about coming to Sunday school
Mhm.
and learning these divine teachings and building our foundation.
Uh-huh.
And you spoke about harmony,
Yes.
being in harmony.
Mhm.
You spoke about the rhythm.
Right.
You know, we learned in Temple 71 to humble ourselves, practice humility,
Mhm.
you know. And as you went through the 101 questions, as we trying to practice humility
Mhm. Mhm. Go ahead.
and stay in rhythm,
Right.
we learned that we try to, in being humble, we try to keep a mild tone,
Mhm.
you know?
Right.
But when you loud,
Mhm.
trying to speak over everybody,
Mhm.
and you out of rhythm,
Mhm.
it shows. You know, it shows. You know, now, I don't know why you loud,
Mhm.
but you loud and you're wrong. And it's messing up the rhythm. And it's messing up the harmony.
Praise the Lord.
Please.
Praise God. Praise God. Wait a minute. Praise God. Praise God. Brother Captain, stop back.
Islam. I want to speak about Sunday school. We know that Mary and Elizabeth, they had to go to Sunday school. And I'm just thinking about the school. That school was a holy school. You know, it wasn't no ordinary school, it was a holy school. And when they went to Sunday school, they were instructed to teach their sons that through calm thoughts, words and deeds, man debased himself, you know, and also to teach them that their sons were going to be the guiders of a nation, you know. They were going to bring an understanding, give a foundation a temple that would last forever.
Right.
You know,
Praise God.
I'm thinking about the thought, you know, because thought is the cause of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were in school, they had to learn certain thoughts, you know, and through these thoughts, they would be guided because Allah would guide them, you know. And I was thinking about the Sunday school, you know, the guiders of the nation. Allah guides us.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
He is our protector and our guide, you know. So
Praise God.
I was just thinking of
Praise God.
that.
Keep this in mind. I understand where you're coming from, Brother Capstone, baby, but I never have read, and I'm just sharing this with you, and we're going to stick with what the prophet said.
Yes, sir.
See, I never read where they was in Sunday school. They was in sacred
Holy,
school.
sacred
Sacred
school.
school.
Sacred school.
So wait a minute. So what we want to do,
It was sacred school.
because every word he speak is spirit. And when we speak his words, we speak in that spirit.
Yes.
So we want to stick with what the prophet brought, and they went to a sacred school.
Yes.
All right? So we want to make sure that we keep that clear.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let that marinate for a minute.
Yeah.
Let that marinate. Keep your hand down for a minute. Let that marinate for a minute. Because it's very important, because the power and authority, the power that we will have is using his words. Not my words, his words. And every word he speaks is spirit. And we got to trust that his word has that spirit. And he spoke about it. And we have to trust those words and speak those words to the best of our ability. But I understand where you're coming from. It was a sacred school. And in a sacred school, there's a sacred way of behaving.
That's right.
There's a sacred thought.
That's right.
There's a sacred thought that comes when we come in here, we prepare ourselves out here to come here to bring a sacred way of thinking so that we can receive the sacred knowledge that Allah sees fit for us to receive.
Yes, sir.
Right.
We must come in here prepared. We prepare ourselves before we get here. What frame of mind are we in when we come? And are we able to shake the world off of us for 2 hours?
Yes.
2 hours
Yes.
to be able to receive.
Islam. That's it.
Because if we don't, then we can be not in harmony.
Praise the Lord.
Not in harmony because of the way we think. All right? Briefly, Brother Brandon, man, briefly. Briefly.
This is the way 71 go. I'm gonna put it out like that.
Well, okay, wait a minute.
No, I'm just saying what I'm just saying, because you said me briefly.
No.
You gave everybody else a chance.
I'm just asking, because we wanted to go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna give you time to
Okay,
give it
go ahead. Go ahead.
because it's some ethers being thrown out there, man.
All right, it's all right, Brandon.
Okay, I'm just saying, man. I want to learn something in my Sunday school.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all that stuff, it's too high, how low, and all that. That's what you come in.
All right, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm in accordance with what the brother said. School, this is Sunday school. This ain't no sacred
All
school.
right, brother.
It's
Praise the Lord.
71.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Okay, I'm in peace though.
All right, praise the Lord.
Okay, don't give one brother more time than the other brother.
Thank you,
Okay.
Brother Crawford.
It's not. Listen, this is a sacred school.
Yes, sir. Yes, it
It's
is.
our Sunday school, and it's sacred.
Right.
Sacred
And
school.
just as John and Jesus,
Yes, sir.
from olden time, it was ordained that we be in this sacred school and be
That's
taught.
That's right.
Peace.
And keep this in mind.
You all right?
That's right.
It's only the way we see it is what it's going to be. By the way we think it.
Praise the Lord.
By the way we think it. If we don't think it to be a sacred place, it won't be one. Because thought is the cause of what? Thought is the cause of it all. We creators. We make our own.
Praise the Lord.
We make our own. Go ahead.
I have a request for everyone. Can we take a couple of minutes and just meditate for a minute?
Praise the
Bring
Lord.
our spirit back in order.
Praise the Lord. Praise the
Because we
Lord.
get ready to go into the Holy Koran. And we want to go in there with a pure heart.
Wisdom.
You
Praise the
understand?
Lord.
And clear our minds. So if
That's
the chairman
wise.
and the instructor doesn't mind, can we take a few minutes of meditation so we can just come together?
I can understand the way that's all guys.
It's not more.
Praise the Lord. Morris. We're going into the questionnaire. We're going into the,
It's not a minute. When we in meditation, there shouldn't be no movement at all from no one.
wait,
Peace.
please. Okay.
It's fine, Lord.
It's not.
And I'm thinking about the first question that he asked, and, what was the question?
Out from the Sunday school come the God definition.
Yeah, out from this Sunday school, I think we all learned something from experiences. You know, when I come to Sunday school, the question is the foundation of Sunday school. You know, on Sunday we get to exercise our five senses. We get to exercise, ask questions, expound about the truths of the prophet Noble Drawley. And if you have any more clarity, this is where it comes from, Sunday school. So this is our foundation. Just learn the one-on-one questions and then expound about them. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's more than what we ever probably would know if we wouldn't come to Sunday school. So even the transactions and the transfusion that we go through in Sunday school, them are learning experiences for us. You know? And what gets me is that not only that we come to Sunday school, but we got to hold these thoughts when we leave Sunday school. You know, it ain't just more Scientific America on Sunday from 2 to 4, or on Fridays from 7:30 to 10. You know, we more when we leave here. So it ain't like we get these lessons and we go home and then we shake them off and leave them at the door. It don't work like that.
That's right.
You know, models don't work like that. You know, we got to hold these lessons to ourselves all day, all night. We got to practice. That's where practice comes in. Because we're going to be confronted with certain things. We're going to have to refer to some of these lessons that we even got today in here. How did I react to that? What was my question to that? So we got to hold these thoughts that we get. It's the spirit that we have. It ain't the act, it's the spirit that we have that we can carry with us.
Praise
But that's all. Thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Now, I want to expound on what the brother saying.
Well, we can be going to a chapter that we all can take time out and look at. Chapter 15. Turn your Koran to chapter 15. I think this is one of many most profound chapters when it comes to us as Muslims in North America. Because we all going to have to do self-examination. We're going to all have to go through the process of evaluating us. Our good just as well as our good and just as well as our bad. We're going to have to go through self-examination. We're going to have to ask ourselves some questions. And Jesus is giving us a guide on how to go about this. So, divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subject to 3 temptations. He overcomes, returns to the camps of John, and begins to teach him. Divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness. He goes to the wilderness. What did he go to the wilderness for?
Self-examination.
Why the wilderness?
So you had peace and quiet.
Be alone with the law.
You know,
Come on. Why did he go to the wilderness?
I would say to begin.
You say begin?
Yeah.
Sister Jones, man.
And some normal people around.
Praise God. See, we got to see why he went to the wilderness, because we're going to have to ask ourselves, why are we going to the wilderness? Why would we go to the wilderness? See, what I'm learning more in this child, we got to put ourselves in these lessons. How do they apply to us? We got to put ourselves in here. He didn't give us this to think about it, only Jesus could do it. If it was good enough for Jesus to do, then it's good enough for us to do. If we trust in what the prophet was, we're going to have to go to in the wilderness for self-examination. For self-examination. Wait a minute. We're gonna have to do that. He's showing us what he had to do to become one with his creator. What I am, all men shall be. What I've done, all men can do. And I might not quote him correctly, but what we gotta look at is what he's showing. He's a pattern. He's a pattern. He's letting us know that these are the things you have to do to evaluate you. So we have to go into, we have to go into the wilderness for self-examination. Why self? Why not go in the wilderness for somebody else? Come on. Huh? Come on. Wait. Okay, let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question. And I'm gonna ask you a question. Sometimes I think, when I stand before the face of men, and they ask for proof of my messiahship, what would I say? If you ain't never thought about it, what would you say? You understand it, you have to build your foundation. Why do you go in the wilderness? Or have you went into the wilderness? Have you? Yeah. I mean, if you haven't, you might need to. Huh? You might need to. This ain't something that we just read and say, well, I remember chapter 15 and he went into the wilderness. Okay, so what did you do with it? Did you go in the wilderness for self-examination? Because I tell you something else. If you sincerely go in there, then you're going to find some things you don't like about yourself. And that's where the courage enough for truth comes in. Go ahead, Brother Faulkner, baby. Go ahead.
Real briefly, more praise the Lord and prophet. First of all, a wilderness is a condition without worldly distractions.
Come on.
And
wait a minute, hold on. Say that again.
A wilderness is a condition or state without worldly distractions.
Let that marinate for a minute. Go ahead.
So being in a wilderness, first of all, personally, I apply this lesson inward.
That's it. Come on.
This ain't just about reading a historical account of a man who did a thing 2,000 years ago, when we know that the purpose of having this lesson is to practice it ourselves. That's why it's in the Koran. So Faulkner Bay, at some point in my life, decided, let me find the wilderness in me, where I could go when I wake up in the morning, before I get to moving all around and getting all active in the worldly things. Let me find my wilderness, like, oh my God, the sister just asked us to do a moment ago. To go in and find a space in you where the Spirit is speaking. You're in the wilderness to hear the still small voice of Allah, to find out if you are worthy based on what you have practiced or not. In this particular case, Faulkner Bay don't always have everything so well in order that I have enough confidence to believe I have the strength to overcome. So I got to take an account. I got to do a self-examination and account for what I've been thinking, what I've been speaking, how I've been acting, and if it's anything in that line of living my experiences where I've got off track, I learned in that wilderness I can make a speedy reparation to the utmost of my power. And then I might have a thought of Allah I got confidence in because I got it from here in that wilderness. Because the Quran, the everlasting gospel, is in the wilderness.
Father Bear, I'm in accordance with you on that. You know, because that wilderness, that means, you know, Brother Brandon Bay know that this is mercury of the flesh. Because I take that with me everywhere I go. The prophet had warned me about this mercury ethers, right? With that desire and the passion reside at, with the soul, because man is not the body nor the soul. He is spirit of that's why I own the law, and the law of the woman. Okay? So when I go into there, because now, and he said self-examination, now that let me know, falling back, I got to go within. Okay? But he remained there for 40 days. Why did he remain there for 40 days? By the things he has suffered. In order to go into a wilderness, I believe that you must be suffering from something. Because he had 3 temptations came down at him. It was 3 temptations in them 40 days that the day star had, that he came up on. Okay?
Praise God.
He wasn't loved then. Allah knows exactly why he sent Jesus to his earth, to save the Israelites from the iron and oppression of the pale-skinned nation of you.
Okay, brother.
Right? I'm trying to get my portion.
I heard you. We heard you. Okay, but we're moving on. We don't want to go all. We don't want to go all course. We want to stay on course. The question is, why do you go ahead, brother Dixon?
Dixon,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go back to the type of this chapter, and it says divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where in James 40 days is subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes.
Mm-hmm.
He turns to the camp of John and begins teaching. Like the brother Faulkner Bay said, like you got to learn how to apply these lessons to yourself and stop seeing the lessons as just something to read, but to actually put yourself in the story. You know, my lower self is strong about many times I'm bound down carnal life. So every day you walk out the door, you know, I try to make sure I make a habit of before I go to work or anything is to pray first. So I can meet Allah. In the Holy Quran and Mecca, it says, when Satan assaults you, you call on Allah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I believe that, you know, Jesus was basically doing the same thing when he went to be alone with Allah. You know, because wilderness can mean many different things, you know what I'm saying? And for me, you know, my mind is a wilderness.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Because you attacked by carnal thoughts, words, and deeds all the time from your lower self. Because man is what? Truth, falsehood, strangely mixed.
Oh, that's right.
So, you know, we have to learn how to understand that portion and just go into the mind of fleshly things, like you said earlier, and fight this demon every day, because it said Jesus overcame. So for this chapter, for me, it's showing me how to defeat my lower self, and he's giving us the foundation of how to do it. He went to the wilderness and he battled those 3 temptations. He went to war with his lower self. And if we, you know, like Moore say it all the time, if we supposed to be, you know, man is not the body nor the soul, he is the what? The spirit and a part of Allah. Then you got to conduct yourself like that. You know, because we've been given a foe that man must fight, so we can be the strength of Allah made manifest. And like, you know, Jesus, he shows us how to fight that lower self to keep us out of the ethers, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it, you know, that I think that that's something that should be, is very, imperative, because we need to focus on that a lot, you know, and like, you know, the sister was saying, let's take a time of meditation. You know, that's going into the wilderness.
Yes, indeed.
Because we are going into the wilderness, you know, so we can keep the ethers going, right? Because, you know, we are spirits in a part of the law. We need the ethers to be going the same way. You know, because we can't get nothing from Sunday school if the ethers ain't put proper. And you know, the power must plant the seed before, you know, you must cultivate the land before the seed be planted. So that's the thing about, you know, what we learning to do here is try to make sure that the soil is proper, so when the proper seed is planted, we can go out of here and be the strength of the law made manifest.
Praise God. Yeah. Okay. Praise God. The harbinger had paved the way. The Logos has been introduced to man as love made manifest. And he must now begin his divine ministry. He went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah. that he might look into his inner heart and know his strength and worthiness. And with himself he talked. He said, my Lord self is strong. By many ties I'm bound down to carnal life. What do you receive out of that?
Right. Hear that.
He's talking to us, Sister
Yes,
Jones
he is.
Bay, Brother Cabin's Bay, Sister
Yes,
Potter
he
Bay,
It's
Sister Brother, go ahead.
I'm listening to what everybody is saying, but I guess I'm looking at it a little bit differently
It's okay.
because the Koran also tells us reflection is the business of man.
That's what I'm telling you.
A
Come on.
sense of his state
It's
is his first duty.
That's right.
What Jesus is doing in the wilderness is different from what I'm hearing. A lot of what I'm hearing is reflection.
Yeah.
You're talking about every day you stop, you go and think. Before the day is over, you think. When you get up, you think about what's going on with you and how you're going to respond.
Mm-hmm.
That's reflection,
Right.
as the book describes it.
Right.
That's reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus went into the wilderness for a lot, for lack of a better word, for more serious work here. He's understanding that he now is going to start putting into motion the duty that Allah called him to this earth for. And he's grappling with all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, he's asking himself questions. He's seeing some of what goes on in the world, how people think, how they act. And now he's got to determine, with the help of Allah, how he's going to handle all of that.
Great love.
And that's a lot deeper than just reflecting on something. That's praying, that's listening to what Allah has to say to him.
Yes.
That's preparing himself mentally and physically for a specific thing. Not just, okay, how many sins did I commit yesterday and what do I need to work on today? It's far beyond that.
That's right. That's right.
He's getting ready to go out into the world to deal with whatever comes at him, whoever comes at him. By in being the holy man that he is, and using the teachings that he was taught by his mother and by Elohim and Salome, and by being guided by Allah and what Allah is asking him to do. What he's getting ready to do, no one has done before. People are not going to understand him. People are going to be against him. Some are going to love him and want to follow him. So he's doing much more than just thinking about, you know, what's happening in the last few days. And I think that for me, I have to stop and think about that. You know, what's different about this than what the Koran tells us? Reflection is the business of man. We're supposed to be thinking all the time about our actions and our words and our deeds.
That's right.
But he's getting ready to tell us something a lot more serious and a lot more different than just reflecting on it and just meditating on it.
Great love. Sister Potter Bay.
I'm good. Sister Jones Bay just answered I was going to ask the question about reflection compared to.
Very long.
Okay. Brother Cabin's Bay.
Yeah, it's on. No.
Some praise and honor, Mr. Prophet. I was kind of where the sister was at, because she kind of mentioned more of what I was going to speak of. You know, because all the things we've been reading about that Jesus been through, the bufferings of every kind, the disputing with the masters, the laws, and everything we have read before this point. See, that's why I said earlier when you asked the question in verse 1 where it said, and now he must begin. He's going to begin the new level that he's going to of his divine ministry.
which is something totally different than what I've been hearing when the sisters spoke about.
Praise God. Brother Candace, talking about
Islam. He had to go into the wilderness to examine his inner heart. He had to go into his inner heart to find out if he was strong enough to conquer his foe. Because that foe was his carnal nature. And he had to find out if he was strong enough to overcome that carnal nature. Because nature urges thee to encounter thee, O man. Therefore, guard thyself at all times against it. So he had to study and to look into his inner heart to see if he was strong enough to overcome that lower self. Because he had two selves. So he had to examine his heart to see if he was strong enough, to overcome that carnal nature.
and we do too. And we got two selves too. And we talking about the thought of Allah manifest in the flesh, questioning himself concerning whether he has the strength to overcome, to do like it was said, the job that Allah had sent him to do. Now, the question is, you have to ask yourself, do you have the strength? He's showing us a pattern. He had to challenge himself, as we say, reflection is the business of man. Yes, in a sense of his stated in his first duty. He questioned himself. You have to question yourself.
Yes.
Because you're going to be challenged. You have a lower self. This is not a mystical, he's making it plain for us to see what we're going to have to go through so that we can become one with him. We're not going to be a prophet, but our job is to become one with Allah. And these are some of the tools he used to become one with him again. And we have to do that. We have to ask ourselves these questions. My lower self is strong. By many ties, I bow down to carnal life. He ain't the only one that ever bow down to carnal life. Everyone in flesh is bound everyone that's in flesh who haven't overcame it is bound down to carnal life. And you have to ask, do I have the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice to the service of the Most High Temple of America? Do I have the strength to stand up for Allah the prophet? Do I have the courage to say, the prophet say this, and by him saying this is what I'm going to do no matter who don't like it? Do I have the strength to say I'm not a Negro, colored folk, black people, Ethiopian? Do I have the strength to when I get the pen in my hand, I'm going to sign my name, Brother H. Harris Bay, not just Howard, H. Harris Bay, H. Harris. These are some of the tests you're going to go do. You have the strength to say when someone is speaking negative words or profound language in the mildest form, you have the strength to say, Islam morph. The prophet speaks about that. Or you can just let him keep on cursing.
That's right.
These are the challenges, Morse. This is what he's showing. We're going to go through these things. And I agree with the sister. He's getting ready to show us it can be done. But don't you ever believe it was just for him to show us. It was for us to comprehend too, so that we can strive to be one with him again. And that's something we got to keep in mind. Sister Delia, go ahead. Sister Delia. What?
Islam, I agree with everything that's been said. The preparation, we know this was a preparation, Jesus. But something, I'm sitting here looking about the preparation. And what we just came out of the chapter about John Hopkins, right? And the hermit of the wilds. He was in the wilds before he went into town and sat. And then we talk about Jesus, right? Going into the wilderness for 40 days, right? I'm looking at preparation that they was divinely prepared to do before they dealt with the carnal self. They had prepared both carnally through the carnal self and the spiritual self. And it was steps that I'm noticing these two went through. purity and love
Mhm.
in order to reach these certain, heights in order for a man to comprehend. Because they had to go through some things as a person because they was here in the flesh, along with holding on to that spiritual love and preparation that was given to them. I would have to go into the wilderness and see if I can sustain what I'm going to go through in order to deal with the flesh, deal with man. Because I'm gonna go through some things, my body as well as my spirit. And I'm sitting here noticing all these years, I don't pay no attention. I'll bring something to you new every day.
Praise God.
What John went through and what Jesus went through.
And then keep in mind, he went in there for a purpose that he might look into his inner heart.
Mm-hmm.
Did we even know we had an inner heart? Did we even think about this before the prophet came that there's an inner heart?
What it is.
We didn't even know that man was not the body. Everything about us was out on it, was outward, it was physical, but he's going into his inner heart to know his strength and worthiness. Because he knows that it's his inner heart, because the flesh can't think. It is his inner heart that's going to help him be able to overcome and be one with him again. So these are the things that he's giving us examples of what we have to do. Because we doing it. Well, let me share this with you. I'll share this with you. We should be applying it today. Because these are the challenges that we're going to face, the buffeting, the woes of many kinds. And give my life a willing sacrifice. Willing, not forcing it. The will of man make possible the actions of the Holy Breath. Are we willing to do what Allah, the Prophet and Allah say, or do we have to be forced? He said that the Moors are some hard-headed, stiff-necked, mean set of people. The only time they did something is at a point of a sword. They're being forced to do it. Are we willing to obey Allah and the Prophet? Are we willing to serve this holy Allah and the Prophet and be obedient to his precept, his happiness to ourselves? Are we willing to do it? Or do we have to be forced to do it? Brother Singer there. I got you.
I was thinking when Sister Delia was talking about John and Jesus when in the wilderness, and you said that we have to do the same thing. You know, it was said before, maybe not here, but before that we can be in the world but not of the world.
Come on.
You know, when we deal with spiritual things, we have to separate ourselves from this physical world. You know, we still have to go through the physical world on a daily basis.
Right.
But we can't really be of that physical world. We got to focus on spiritual things and have a spiritual mind and feed ourselves with spiritual food so we can grow spiritually. You know, that's what the wilderness is about, going in that wilderness, separating from the world. You know, I think Brother Dixon Neal maybe gave the definition of, Brother Faulkner Bay maybe gave the definition of wilderness,
Right.
or something. But we have to separate from the world, the distractions in the world. There's a lot of distractions. We got to separate from those distractions. And when we go in, you know, we can kind of get away from the noise, like Sister Jones Bay said. We went in the wilderness because there were no people there. You know, we have to get to a quiet place where it's no distractions, so we can hear that still small voice speak to us.
Praise God. And I think the key word was reflection. Reflection. We can't get away from that. That's our business. That's our business. Now the question is, do we have the courage to see what we see? But once we see it, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to function the way we function once it's revealed to us that we may not be in order? we gonna go into that wilderness and find a quiet place and say, look, Allah, give me the strength to work on these things. These things I need to deal with because these things are starting to affect the way I operate. This is about having courage and being honest with self. That's what I gathered from this. Brother Cadmus Bay, then I'm gonna let Brother Brandon Bay brief, and then we're gonna close out.
I just wanted, because you touched on something real important when you talked about inner. So I just want to read this that I felt. Okay. It said, it is your spiritual nature, your life force. Once you peel back the layers of the body, the bones and the muscles, egos, the mind, emotions and feelings and attitudes, and opinions of everything external, what is left is the real essence of you, what Allah has blessed you with. Peace.
Peace. But Brandon Bay,
I'm just gonna say this, Brother Hearns, right? You know, man, because I'm still wrestling with myself, man. You know, I come in here for self-examination too, okay? You know, when these things, when you getting away from the teaching, when I honor the moderator for, you know, the way he instructs us, you know, with these divine lessons, even the national children, you know, I honor them for that, the way they instruct us, man. You know, because you went into the first paragraph, but everybody looked like they went around it. You know, because it said the harbinger had paved the way. He wasn't talking about all this other stuff and other stuff, you know. But listen, but you always cut me off.
yes, come on.
I'm trying to stick right here. Okay. He said the harbinger had paved the way. The logos had been introduced to man as love made manifest. I must know what the harbinger is. These new words to me. I got to know now the logos. What is a logos? Okay, I can't start talking about chapter 33, 36, then mix it up with chapter 7, then chapter 5.
Okay.
No, man, I must stay right here.
Okay, and you know what? You're gonna stay right there because right now we're gonna close out. But I suggest what you do is when you get a chance, you go home and take time out and open up.
Do that every day.
The lesson don't stop.
Do that every day.
The lesson don't stop.
Do it every day.
The lesson don't stop. The lesson continue to go on even when we leave here. These questions, some of these questions are going to have to be answered at another time. We're moving up on time, and in the process, some of these questions that you're going to have, you're not going to get them all in 1 minute. That's why you should come back to Sunday school.
Still might not get it.
You know, come back to Sunday school. So with that, I tell you, the most important thing we can do is always keep an eye on what we're doing and make sure that we're striving to do what the prophets say. And in the process, keep coming to the temple, keep it simple, stay in the temple, and ask Allah to guide us. And more will be revealed to you at a later time. With that, my brother, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to the chairman, and we're going to go from here. Peace.
Peace.
Islam. I'd like to thank our brother, Grand Governor of Washington, D.C., Brother Terry Bay, Also, I'd like to thank you all for, exercise our 5 senses. And that's what we mean by the guys of the nation come out of Sunday school, because we exercise. You can't get good if you don't exercise. You got to exercise. Your mind, your body, and your thoughts. And this will start Sunday school. So that being said, I'm going to call for the Assistant Grand Governor of Washington, D.C. Time to call our Sister D. Jones, baby.
Islam.
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 I give praise to Allah and honor to His holy prophet, Noble True Ali, honor to the Sunday school class, and honor to everything that the prophet brought for the uplifting of fallen humanity. Friday, January 15, 1929. Prophet warns all Muslims, governor's order to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, and freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Peace.
Peace.
Come on, and our portion of Sunday school. This portion is dedicated to our past and the law collection bags. There will be two bags of bags. Public collection and more shall be. And I'm over for announcement. Are there any announcements?
It's not more, on the way up.
Truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.